Well, if you thought you experienced long lines at the polls yesterday, odds are they were a lot shorter than what people encountered in Chaparral. Good evening, I'm Adrian Alvarez.
And I'm Kagan Harsha. Residents there tell us that they were stuck in line for hours and that some people didn't get to vote until well after 10 o'clock last night. Russ Pappas joins us now with more on what some say went wrong. Hi, Russ.
Well, Kagan, as you know, Americans woke this morning to a changed political landscape. Republicans rule the House, Democrats are the majority in the Senate, and Barack Obama is back in the White House. But many local voters went to sleep last night disheartened because of problems they experienced casting their vote.
So many of these people are really upset with the process.
Long, slow-moving lines, no translators available, ineffective equipment and/or procedures. Those are some of the complaints in Chaparral, New Mexico, when locals turned out to vote on Election Day.
We had single mothers waiting in line for over 2.5 hours, people that were hungry, people that were cold, people that were dealing with the elements, just trying to vote.
Ben Rodriguez and Ariel Bickle are part of a nonpartisan group that goes to communities to register voters.
We focus on underserved communities and getting people to be first-time voters.
On Election Day, Bickle and Rodriguez were called to this Chaparral voting location because they heard there were problems.
They were asking for ID, they were turning people away without giving them provisional ballots. The line was moving very slow, so there was probably a mixture of voter suppression and frankly just improper handling of an election situation.
But Otero County Clerk Robin Holmes says no complaints were filed in an email to News Channel 9. She also tells us the county's poll workers are trained to treat each voter with respect and to respect the voter's privacy. Holmes stated that IDs are required for voters who register to vote by mail and have not previously presented an ID. She went on to say that long lines and wait times were experienced all over Otero County, likely due to a high voter turnout and a lengthy ballot. She added that New Mexico law requires all ballots in the state be printed in both Spanish and English.
To us as advocates, every single person who gets turned away is a person who should have been able to vote. Their vote is their voice. Su voto es su voz.
Early voting in Chaparral might be the solution, but Otero County, because it has less than 50,000 registered voters, is required to only have one early voting site in the county. At this time, Otero County does not have plans to make an early voting site in Chaparral, New Mexico, or any other community. Live in the data center, Russ Pappas, News Channel 9.
All right, very interesting. Thanks, Russ. Well, the 2012 election marked the lowest turnout in 12 years in El Paso County. According to county election results, 46% of registered El Pasoans cast their ballots yesterday, and that was the lowest turnout percentage since the 2000 election, when just 40% voted. El Paso County has 191 precincts with more than 375,000 registered voters. El Paso fell below the Texas statewide percentage of 58%, which is the lowest in the nation.
Meanwhile, New Mexico, voter turnout was on par with 4 years ago. Doña Ana County elections officials say around 60% of registered voters turned out at the polls yesterday. More than 61,000 voters cast ballots this year compared to 63,000 in the 2008 general election. In the Doña Ana County District Attorney's race between incumbent Amy Orlando and challenger Mark D'Antonio went down to the wire last night. Ultimately, voters elected a new district attorney, with D'Antonio beating out the Republican with 52.9% of the vote. The former FBI agent and current defense attorney will be taking over as DA for Amy Orlando. Orlando was appointed by now New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez when she became governor 2 years ago. D'Antonio says he's honored to be the county's new district attorney.
Humbled by the voters of Doña Ana County that they would trust me with such an important position. I promise to keep Doña Ana County safe and do whatever I can to bring justice to everybody in Doña Ana County.
D'Antonio plans on reaching out to all area law enforcement agencies in order to have a unified approach to prosecuting crimes.
Well, just minutes from now, an El Paso City Council representative will officially announce his campaign to run for mayor of El Paso. Live at the 1914 Lounge in Union Plaza, where Steve Ortega is expected to make his big announcement, is our News Channel 9's Anusha Rasta with the latest. Anusha?
Hagen, I'm here at 1914, a lounge in the Union Entertainment District, where City Representative Steve Ortega will officially officially announced his candidacy for mayor of El Paso. Now let's take a look right here behind me. The building is packed with Steve Ortega supporters. They've got signs, there's balloons. The music is just going and people are enjoying themselves, having a drink and socializing. Steve Ortega is not currently here. We are waiting for his arrival and he should be arriving shortly. Now mayoral elections aren't for another 6 months and so far no other person has announced their intent to run for mayor of El Paso. Steve Ortega is the only person that we know of so far. He is the only candidate. He served on city council for over 10 years. Earlier this week, he unofficially announced that he was going to run for mayor on Facebook, and we did bring you that report. We will bring you all the latest, however, on his announcement tonight. He will arrive just in a few moments, and we will be there with the latest at 6:30. Reporting live in downtown El Paso, Anusha Rasta, News Channel 9.
All right, thanks, Anusha. One election over, already looking ahead to another one.
Very interesting to see Jose Rodriguez, the state senator, also there, the new District 78 state rep, Joe Moody, among his supporters. The borderland's been spoiled with beautiful fall weather until this point. Chief meteorologist Chip Maxim joins us now with our first look at our forecast. Hi, Chip.
Hey, Adrienne. Yeah, it has been pretty nice through the entire week. Lots of sunshine, temperatures well above average, but changes are coming. You can see the first of those changes with some high clouds that are beginning to move into the frame. The last few pictures of that movie, and temperatures still going to be comfortable today and tomorrow. Right now it's 71 in El Paso, 69 in Deming, and over the past couple days we've seen warmer temperatures in the afternoon. Just 24 hours ago we were 4 degrees warmer than we were yesterday at Alamogordo. Same temperature in El Paso. Tomorrow will be fairly warm, but we're looking at a cool night tonight, and the real cold air does move in for the weekend. More about that and some strong winds that'll be headed our way, but if you're headed out early in the morning, temperatures should be into the 50s through most of the morning. Guys?
All right, thanks, Chip. Well, although monsoon season's over, the possibility of getting West Nile virus is not. The Department of Public Health says that 2 more people in El Paso County have come down with the virus, bringing the total number of cases this year to 30. The victims are 2 females, one a 47-year-old woman from West El Paso, the other a 53-year-old woman from the Lower Valley. So far this year, 18 men and 12 women have come down with the virus.
Well, last night, voters approved a general obligation bond to help fund big improvements to New Mexico State University campuses. Bond C received 58.5% voter approval, providing $24 million to repair buildings and other infrastructure needs. $19 million will go toward renovating Hardman Hall and Jacobs Hall at the main campus in Las Cruces. The university says the money will help attract prospective students and will also benefit the learning experience.
When we show those campuses to students that we're trying to attract, this is going to be an immense help to us. And we're excited about improving just the teaching that goes on campus.
The university has finalized paperwork and hopes to have the contracts up for bid by the end of the week. Doña Ana Community College grants, Carlsbad and the Alamogordo campuses will also receive money for infrastructure repairs.
Just weeks after naming an interim president at New Mexico State University, they'll now have to search for a new provost and executive vice president. Dr. Wendy Wilkins announced yesterday afternoon she would be resigning her position as chief academic officer. She plans on retiring at the start of next year. NMSU has already named former administrator Jay Jordan as a temporary replacement, while a new provost and vice president is found. Wilkins will leave her position at the end of the week and be on leave until the end of the semester. She has served as provost since 2010.
The 3-legged monkey will not see its permit revoked. That's the decision from Administrative Law Judge Veronica Najera yesterday. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission tried to get the bar's permit taken away, claiming the bar was often over capacity and also responsible for the murder of a Fort Bliss soldier back in the summer of 2011. But the judge said there wasn't enough evidence to show the bar was responsible for over-serving, which the TABC said led to the murder. Owner Michael Armstrong says it's just another battle that he's fought and won to keep his business open.
It's a moment of vindication for all those people that have said things erroneously about our establishment. So we're proud to move forward for another 10 years.
Armstrong filed for bankruptcy to keep the city from trying to terminate his lease at Hawkins Place.
Well, some Northeast residents had to deal without power this morning after a traffic accident on Rushing and Trans Mountain. El Paso electric officials said about 2,000 customers lost power after the collision knocked down an electrical pole. According to El Paso Electric spokeswoman Teresa Sousa, most customers had power by 9. El Paso police is still investigating the accident. Well, this election left a mark on history.
Yeah, this year's election took the record as the most tweeted event in social media, but it was the female candidates for the first time in history who broke a lot of barriers on Election Day.
Women were recognized as key voters, and a record number of women actually ran for political office this year. Right after the break, I'll sit down with UTEP political science professor Dr. Catherine Stout to discuss the importance that women had on this election.